Part 1. White Clouds. Verdant Rain Moon. Tower of Black Winds. The ceaseless rains that satiate the verdant landscape of Fodlan are accompanied by fierce winds and mighty roars of thunder. This abundance of rain, sparkling as it falls against beams of emerging sunlight, is a constant reminder to the people of Fodlan that nature is ever wild and unpredictable. For when the rain finally does take pause, the clouds part and give way to a glorious rainbow.
I have a new mission for you, Professor. I would like for you to take your students into Kingdom territory to eliminate some thieves.
They stole a hero's relic from House Gautier of the Holy Kingdom of Faerghus, the Lance of Ruin. Their leader's name is Miklan. He is apparently a disowned son of House Gautier. I believe it had something to do with his lack of a crest. Such happenings are fairly common within the kingdom.
The Crestless cannot unleash the goddess's power even if they possess a relic. Nonetheless, they are still capable of simply wielding those weapons.
The hero's relics are immensely powerful weapons. We must meet this threat with adequate force. Unfortunately, most of the Knights of Seiros are away from the monastery, purging the apostates of the Western Church. So we are entrusting you with this mission. After all, you wield the Sword of the Creator, which is more than capable of opposing any relic.
The Sword of the Creator is a powerful weapon well beyond the other relics. You have nothing to fear. However, to ensure that no harm comes to the students, we will also send the monastery's most skilled individuals to aid you.
I must remind you that you are expected to conduct yourself in a manner befitting the wielder of that holy sword. Also, you should know that Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. That is all.
I heard about our mission for this month. So, we are to eradicate thieves in Kingdom territory. I'm sorry for dragging you into the Kingdom's petty squabbles. This should not be your burden to bear, but my own. Thank you, Professor. Hearing you say that puts my mind at ease.
Your Highness? Ah, it's been ages!
It's been a long time. 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, Your Highness. You've grown so much in those years, I hardly recognize you.
This is Rodrigue, an old friend of my father's. I believe I've mentioned him, if you recall. When my father died 4 years ago, he looked after me as though I were his own son.
You flatter me, Your Highness. It was my honor to care for such a fine young man. It's nice to finally meet you, Professor. My son, Felix, has mentioned you on occasion.
What brings you to the monastery, Rodrigue? Is it the thieves plaguing the kingdom?
I'm afraid so. This is not merely a problem for House Gautier, but for everyone. The thieves have set up their headquarters in Fraldarius territory, and are mercilessly pillaging the villagers of that area. You have our full support in stopping those dastards. I thank you for your help, both of you.
Good of you to come, Professor. I've heard much about you lately. Specifically, that you are able to awaken the Sword of the Creator's power. Thusly, it seems the true nature of your crest has been uncovered. I had, of course, seen your crest before. However, at first, I failed to recognize its true nature. Eventually, it dawned on me that what is visible is perhaps merely a small part of a greater whole. In other words, your crest is too significant to be detected when using normal instruments. After this discovery, I began researching crests that might fit that description, which allowed for a temporary hypothesis. However, I could not be certain. The crest my conclusions led me to was far too unusual. A crest thought to have disappeared from this world in the millennium since the fall of Nemesis, the King of Liberation. The crest of flames. That is what you possess. Your ability to wield the sword of the Creator has unequivocally proven my hypothesis. A legendary power, dormant since time immemorial and now resurrected. There can be no doubt that this ancient power resides within you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help the other day, Professor. Please, allow me to express my gratitude by taking you to dinner. Fantastic. Please think about what you'd like to eat. After all, such magnificent guidance must work up quite an appetite. I've studied swordsmanship for some time, but your mercenary skills are something else entirely. Speaking of which, there's another question I must ask you. Were you reconciled with the reality of battle from your first foray? With the killing part, I mean? I see. No. I do not carry that burden well. I doubt that will change, no matter how many years come and go. The first time I led on the battlefield, I was sent to quell a rebellion in the west. It was not a difficult fight. The enemy was not well trained and their morale was low. A swing of the lance and your opponent falls. A flash of your blade and a path opens up. That's the sort of battle it was. Easy, right? The noble family from that area sought to seize the throne after my father's untimely death. The leader of the rebel army was defeated and the rebellion quelled. This was at the height of the post-war period. I recall coming across a dead soldier's body. He was clutching a locket. Inside was a lock of golden hair. I don't know to whom it belonged. His wife? His daughter? Mother? Lover? I'll never know. He was a soldier, an enemy, someone we had cut down without hesitation. But in that moment, I realized he was also a real person, just like the rest of us. Of course, we cannot stand idly by and allow anyone to commit senseless acts of violence. Yet, in dispensing what we call justice, we take the lives of cherished family members, beloved friends. Killing is part of the job, but even so, there are times when I'm chilled to the bone by the depravity of my own actions. That you feel the same way is more comforting than you could know. Professor, may I speak freely? When we first met, I thought of you as someone who felt no strong feelings about killing your enemies. I could never trust someone who kills without batting an eye. My heart won't allow it. But after speaking with you and getting to know you better, I can see you're not like that. Now I know, with all my heart, that I can trust you. Thank you for that.
A stone? A stone. I do not understand. Yet, as I think of it, the pounding in my chest grows faster still. But is that me? Or is it you?
I could use a hand. Thanks. I'm glad I asked you.
Hey there.
I know Lord Rodrigue. He paid repeated visits to His Highness after the previous king was killed.
Say, I hear that a knight of Seiros named Gilbert will be joining us for our mission this moon. He is skilled, which is surely a boon for us. Still, that was not very thoughtful of Lady Rhea. No, it's nothing. In any case, you should at least introduce yourself to him before we depart. House Gautier is Sylvain's home. It would be nice of you to check on him as well.
Mercedes. Her face looks familiar.
I'm not secretly eating cake. You're getting pretty good at talking through the door, Professor.
It's awful. Just awful what happened with the Rite of Rebirth. The infirmary. Well, it was a mess. Things are finally calm again, and so I've come here to unwind. Let me tell you, I put all of my knowledge to use keeping those kids alive. Still, the truth of it is that when someone faces death for the first time, well, they figure out who they are. They learn if they can do it again. We can't lose them, Professor. Not to battle or to cowardice. If you can keep them going, then I will too.
Why is that fish so still? Wait, is it swimming sideways? Perhaps it is resigned to its woeful fate of being plucked from the water and eaten. Ah, Professor, you are so outgoing with all of the students. I would like to have more opportunities to connect with you, though I'm certain my brother would disapprove. Might you help me with a favor? You have helped me so much.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Oh, come to think of it, last month there was something to report, wasn't there? Thanks to you, I hear that everything was resolved. I never realized that bandits had entered. I'm not a great guard after all, am I? I hope you will forgive me one day.
Wow, Lord Rodrigue in the flesh. What is Felix doing? This is such a rare opportunity for him to see his family.
I have a request. Hail, Professor. If I may introduce myself, I am Gilbert. My life has been spent as a dedicated knight. I am to accompany you on your assignment. I may have slowed a step in recent years, but I pledge to you the full extent of my abilities. No, Professor. The pleasure is all mine, I assure you.
I have heard that someone from House Gautier, one of the Kingdom of Faerghus' noble families, is causing some sort of commotion. What a complete disgrace to the nobility.
Hey there, Professor. I've been hearing about you a lot lately. Word on the street is you wield some amazing sword. If you ever want to sell it to me, I'd pay top G. Just kidding. Sorta. It's, not for sale, is it? Let me see.
Hey, Professor. Don't you think everyone's making too big a fuss over these crests, or heroes' relics, or whatever they're called? How important can that stuff really be? Personally, I don't even care that I don't have a crest. I'll take muscles over crests any day. Heck, I'll take muscles over a hot meal. Actually...
Aristocrats are fools, allowing their lives to be dictated by their crests. Though, I suppose I am much the same in that regard. I thought school life would be peaceful and quiet, with a sprinkle of drama to keep things interesting. But since you arrived, it's been one thing after another. Is that just a coincidence, I wonder? Oh, I was just kidding. Anyway, as I said before, I do like having a little drama in my life.
For a hero's relic to be stolen, it's unheard of.
And just last month, the sword of the Creator was almost stolen too.
Also quite unheard of. What impudence.
Some people are unhappy because they don't have the crest they want. And some are unhappy because they have a crest they never asked for.
The coffin of Seros in the Holy Mausoleum should have held her remains. Instead, they say it held the sword of the Creator. What could it mean?
The head of the Western Church holds the title of bishop. That's not as distinguished as an archbishop, such as Lady Rhea, but it still comes with a fair amount of authority. If someone in that position plotted an assassination, I cannot help but think it must have been instigated by some outside force. There are bishops in the Eastern Church as well, but to speak frankly, they do not have much impact. They are under the influence of both the Archbishop and the Leicester Alliance, so their ability to voice grievances is quite limited.
That man I walked past earlier, that wasn't Lord Rodrigue, was it? House Fraldarius is a powerful noble family, linked to the founding of Faerghus. Lord Rodrigue, its current leader, is a magnificent warrior. He's known as the Shield of Faerghus. A dozen or so years ago, during the Northern Campaign in Srang, he performed splendidly as the king's right hand. Come to think of it, wasn't there someone from House Fraldarius amongst this year's students?
You acquitted yourself honorably last month. To think they'd go into the Holy Mausoleum and assault the Goddess Tower. I cannot imagine the Western Church was acting on its own. Someone must have been helping them. As for the masked knight who escaped, his days are numbered. I hope we find him soon, so I can kill him myself.
Professor, have you seen my son perchance? I have need of him. Is that so? That is too bad. I must ask him not to distract you, Professor, nor His Highness from the matter at hand.
I'm so sorry my older brother is causing you all this hassle, Professor. Don't misunderstand. I always thought he was a piece of garbage. But I never thought he'd steal the relic. I can't wait to see his face when he realizes I'm in the group that was sent to take him down.
I have never had goings to the kingdom's north. I hear the people of North are cold and have much loneliness. Professor, I hear you have worked as a mercenary in the kingdom. Did you find joy in this? You cannot remember? Is that having possibility? I have amazement.
Professor, I'm gonna keep training until I can beat you.
Right. You guys have it bad in your own way. But believe me when I say we've got it bad too. With all that happened last month, a great many knights were dispatched to the Western Church. And now we must set out for the Eastern Church, located in the far east of the Leicester Alliance. If I must die in Alliance territory, I wish it wasn't in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. I'd much rather go on a sightseeing trip to Deirdre. Oh, you don't know? Deirdre is House Regan's domain. It's called the Aquatic Capital.
Okay.
I've had a chance to spar with Gilbert of the Knights of Seiros before. I couldn't get a single strike in. If that man is accompanying you on your assignment, you can rest assured that no harm will come to you. To be honest, he kind of reminds me of someone. But no, it must be my imagination, right?
Professor, you looked like a natural wielding the sword of the Creator. It's strange though, isn't it? The last owner of the sword was Nemesis, but I thought he didn't have any descendants.
So the whole plan to attack the monastery was some plot devised by the Western Church? That means they used Lenato. What right do they have to drag a good man like him into their schemes? There's going to be a big investigation into the Western Church soon. I wish I could be a part of it. I want to hear for myself why Lenato had to die.
So, you have a crest too, eh, Professor? Does that mean you're descended from nobility? You've certainly got the look for it. I sure do wish there were more nobles like you, Professor. A teacher, a mercenary, and so very mysterious. How could a girl ever get enough?
You and your class were at that fight in the Holy Mausoleum, right? I sincerely hope the holy artifacts are unscathed. I admit I wish I could have been there to see it all, even if it does make me queasy. But I was there too early. I'd gone first thing in the morning. At noon, one of the monks chased me out, saying I'd been there too long. Who were they to decide when I've been somewhere too long?
Not possible. Hey, Professor, did you happen to see that man I was looking for earlier? I just spotted him by the dining hall, but then he ran away. You saw him by the entrance to the monastery? Thank you, Professor! Father, I found you at last!
That reminds me. The Leicester Alliance is governed through roundtable conferences between the 5 most prominent allied dukes, the 5 great lords. First and foremost is Duke Regan, the Alliance's leader. Joining him are the heads of House Goneril, House Gloucester, and House Ardelia. Lastly, there is the newest addition, Margrave Edmund. These 5 each have voting power in the conferences. Before House Edmund, it was House Daphne that was counted amongst the 5. However, it is said that the head of that family relinquished their vote to House Edmund, which had only recently risen to significance.
Have you seen a man who looks like me? He's middle-aged and relatively tall. If you get the chance, tell him I've gone out, okay?
I heard about the things you did. I'm so glad Lady Rhea is safe. I figure you're a great person after all, Professor. I heard about the things you did. I'm so glad Lady Rhea is safe. I figure you're a great person after all, Professor. I learned all sorts of things, so I can do as much as possible for Lady Rhea. Cleaning, chopping wood, making feed. Oh, and I'm learning the bow and arrow from Shamir. I'm happy to help you out with anything you need done for your class. You betcha. I'm your guy, Professor. Since, you know, you can't exactly add me to your class or anything.
Hey there. Hey, Teach. I hear you were able to use the Sword of the Creator. That means... What does that mean? Could it mean that you're a descendant of Nemesis, the King of Liberation?
Professor. Geralt was looking for you. It seems he has gone off somewhere. If he is not in his room, then surely someone has seen him. Ask around. I have something to ask of you. I have something to ask of you.
I am trusting you. You must be rather bewildered by the power that was hidden within. However, know that I believe in you. I have no doubt that you will use that power justly. You will most certainly fulfill the grand destiny that the goddess has seen fit to grant you. I'm pleased to have been invited. I am grateful. Of course. Of course. Yes. Of course. Of course. Have you grown accustomed to living in the monastery? I see. No. Yes. Yes. Is that so?
How tranquil.
Of course.
How tranquil.
This crown is rather elaborate, but it has been passed down through generations of archbishops. It will be nice to gain a better understanding of each other. I see. This crown is rather elaborate, but it has been passed down through generations of archbishops. It will be nice to gain a better understanding of each other. How quickly this delightful time has passed. However, we must return to our work. I appreciate your effort.
Oh, Professor, are you looking for Captain Gerald? I just saw him in the Knight's Hall a little while ago. He was talking with a female knight, but I didn't get a good look at who she was.
Oh my! The crest of flames? Could it really? Yes, the actual crest of flames! No, that is quite enough. I should compose myself. I must remain objective in my research. Objective, professional. The scandal with the Western Church troubles me. We cannot afford to let ourselves be swept along, and yet...
Hi. Don't you think Professor Hanneman's been acting a bit strange? Maybe he's made some kind of big discovery.
Oh, Gerald? He said something about visiting a grave. There's a graveyard attached to the monastery, so you'll probably find him there. I can't remember where the graveyard is, but I bet Sedith knows.
Go back. Ah, the graveyard. Of course I know it. It can be a little hard to find. Would you like me to show you where it is? Very well.
I wanted to ask you to join me, but I couldn't find you. So, here I am. I was thinking we should visit your mother. She's resting beneath this humble grave. Oh, of course you would ask that. I wouldn't know where to begin. I suppose I haven't talked much about her. She was gentle and smart. Oh, so smart. A wonderful cook. Always kind to everyone. And she loved flowers. Whenever I brought her back an unusual flower, her face would light up. I cherish those memories. I can't count how many times she made me happy just by smiling. And she smiled the most when she was pregnant with you. She died right after you were born. She wasn't able to spend much time with you. But she loved you with all her heart. That's the truest thing I know. Never forget it. This ring is the only keepsake I have of her. In time, it will be yours. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her.
Well done. You have my thanks. How are you managing the Sword of the Creator? No problems? I hope you have not left it lying somewhere unattended or anything foolish like that. You will need the sword's power on your next mission. I trust you will handle it without much issue.
Oh, Professor. I didn't realize you were there. If we keep running into each other like this, people will start to talk. Hey, don't get mad. I was joking. Forget it. What do you need? Well, you're not wrong. I fell for that girl recently, but I just wanted to have some fun and leave it at that. So I told her we should break it off. I guess she was feeling a little more serious than I was. She started crying and everything got a bit complicated. Come on, Professor. Playing around with girls is the most fun a guy can have. Besides, I don't care what you think of me. I don't intend to change how I live my life. I'm a good-for-nothing, if you haven't noticed. But I'm still a noble with a crest. That's all anyone cares about. It's best to avoid getting too serious with fools like that. It only leads to trouble. I'm gonna be forced into an arranged marriage with some random noble woman anyway. By the way, Professor, you didn't know you had a crest, did you? I see. I suppose a mercenary wouldn't be concerned with such things. Most children who are born to noble families are tested upon birth to see if they bear one. Even descendants of the 10 elites, like myself, can't be legitimate heirs without a crest. That means as children, we're only accepted if we're born with one. The heads of most noble houses keep having kids until they get one with a crest. Those children then grow up to be heads of their houses, and the vicious cycle continues. Do you get it now? To all these commoner girls, I'm just a trophy, or rather, a stud horse. Perhaps, but that doesn't change the fact that these girls don't love me. They only love the potential rewards of loving me. If I marry a girl and she gives birth to a child with a crest, that kid might become the next head of House Gautier. But nowadays, with the bloodlines getting weaker, there are a lot of kids like my brother, born with no hope. For ages now, those of us with crests have been envied and desired, but never for who we are. I understand the value of my blood. Believe me, I hate how much I understand it. I know better than to dream of being free from this burden. I'm used to it by now. I used to think I didn't have the right to live freely. That's right. You know what? I'm a bit jealous. The whole time you were growing up, you never knew you had a crest. You were free. Nobody pretended to like you. I kind of hate you for that. You were a spoiled brat who should pay for that crest. Maybe I'll collect the debt. Gotcha! Wow, you should have seen the look on your face just then. Don't mind me, Professor. After all, ladies love a dark and brooding noble.
Aha! Found ya! You're always nosing around places, aren't you, Professor? Can be real hard to find you sometimes. No worrying about it. I just wanted to talk to you about a thing today. Do you remember how Lady Rhea asked you to come to the office this evening? Well, she told me that I should come to let you know that today's a bad day for doing that, and you should go and see her tomorrow instead. That's pretty much everything I needed to say, I think. Oh, except to ask you if you've seen Sedith around anywhere. Okay, I'm supposed to tell Sedith the thing Lady Rhea told me to tell you, but he's hard to find. No, it's alright, thanks. But if you see him, then please find me and tell me where you saw him, okay? Because then I'll know where he is and I can tell him. I'll be in the stables if you need me. Gotta put out the fodder before it's the next kid's shift. Don't want her thinking I left my work for her to do. Oh, but if I'm not in the stables and you need to find me, I'll be at the forest up north, because there's a bunch of logs lying around up there. I figure I ought to chop them up, or else someone might trip on a log, or we might run out of firewood. And if I chop, then it'll save other people time. If it looks like I'm done there, then the quarters need to be swept. So if you see Sedith and you need to find me, then I might be there. Nope, this is my job. I'm not giving it to anyone else because it's mine and I'm gonna do it. Besides, if you help me out, Lady Rhea might give me an earful. I don't know why, but Lady Rhea sure does seem to like you. She's always worried about what you might be doing or not doing. Oh yeah, not that it's any of my business. Anyways, Lady Rhea asked me to do some jobs, so I'm doing them all. Even some she didn't ask for, but I know need doing, so I'm doing them. End of story. And remember, if you see Sedith around, come find me and tell me where you saw him, yeah? Huh? But I just told you where I'd be. If I'm not in the stables, I'll be at the forest. If I'm not, oh, I see. You're right, I'm all over the place, huh? I don't want to waste your time, Professor, so if you see Sedith, how about you tell him I was looking for him, and then tell him all the places I'll be? Then he can spend his time looking for me instead of you. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. A real good plan. Let's do that. See you later, Professor.
Thanks.
How's that, Professor? If you ask me, I think we did pretty well.
Yes, Sylvain put his back into it for once. Next thing we know, pigs will be taking to the air.
I can do better now.
I'm a natural.
Haha, I'm starting to get it.
It all makes sense now.
Impressed yet?
Your class seems pretty relaxed. My professor is so strict. So is the house leader. What do you say? I believe I'd enjoy being a member of your class. Wonderful. I look forward to watching you close up. That is to say, observing your teaching style. By the way, I'll need some time for naps. 2 hours of class time should be sufficient.
I am spending my days with devotion to my studies. There is something I think of when looking at you. I am feeling that the way you are teaching would give me great benefit. Is it possible to be switching to your class? I would like to be requesting that of you. I have so much gratitude. I am still not used to the speaking of your language, but I have full comprehension. Please, Professor, teach me all of the things you know.
Hey, glad I caught you. Could I ask you a favor? I'd really like to join your class. You're the only one who knows how to teach like Captain Gerald. You get what I mean, don't you? Yes! I knew you'd understand! Thanks to you, I'm going to be the best mercenary you've ever seen. Just watch!
I have heard good things about you. I believe your talents may be well suited to working with a student of my uniquely high caliber. What do you say? Shall we arrange a transfer? I suppose when I put it that way, how could you possibly decline? We are a natural fit. I expect only the very best from you, Professor. appears that Claude has returned to the Alliance. And that woman who is with him, I recognized her. I believe she is from House Daphne. That would certainly explain her air of majesty.
You know, Professor, I keep hearing good things about you. I gotta admit, I'm curious. Wanna let me into your class? All right, that was easy enough. Come on, we're gonna run this place.
I heard a relic was stolen. If this had something to do with a family conflict, I don't think I could choose a side. What if it's some kind of powerful weapon? I want one too. I know relics aren't easy to come by, but I'd still like to get my hands on one.
Oh, Professor, my class is, would you, can I join your class? Yes! Thank you so much. This will be so much better. I don't know why, but I'm just so much more comfortable when you're around.
Remember this, Professor. That look on Dedue's face means he thinks the food is pretty tasty.
I wonder why. Why does Lady Rhea give you special treatment? You're not particularly strong or good-looking. You seem exceedingly unremarkable. Not that I doubt you were a skilled mercenary. Shamir came from the same background, but she doesn't get nearly as much of Lady Rhea's attention. Besides, it'd be one thing if you got brought on as a knight, but a professorship, unprecedented. I just don't get it. I'm flummoxed as to why she holds you in such high esteem. And it's not like just anyone can wield the Sword of the Creator. It's a legendary relic, right? And it was casually handed over to you. It's unbelievable. Maybe it's because you're related to Geralt. He was a leader of the Knights of Seiros, and probably the finest mercenary in all Fodlan. By the time I joined, he was gone, so I don't know him too well, but he's strong, right? Oh, come on. There can't be a soul in Fodlan who hasn't heard tales of the Bladebreaker. Maybe that's it. Geralt used his influence to help you. But Lady Rhea wouldn't give you favorable treatment because of that. No, definitely not. There must be something more to you. Okay, that settles it. I'm going to watch from afar, figure out what Lady Rhea could possibly see in you. Whatever it is, maybe I can copy it so that she'll take a shine to me as well. And if I discover that your intentions are malicious, I'll cut you down with relish.
Did you need something? This tea is my favorite. How did you know? My thanks. Delicious. Indeed. Yes. I do not like classrooms. I would rather learn at my own pace. Does my face unsettle you? I have heard it before. Delicious. Ah. Why are you staring? Ah. Professor. What? Just the right amount of heat. It was delicious. I hope you will invite me again.
It should be in our sights soon, Professor. The abandoned tower those thieves are using as a base. Conan Tower.
This area was the site of a massive battle several hundred years ago. That's when invasions from the north were at their peak. Back then, this tower was built for both surveillance and defense. It will be difficult to seize it.
You're very well informed, Gilbert. Please, tell us more.
Well, you're joking.
Professor, did you see the local villages? They were in rough shape, no doubt because of the thief attacks. They're not going to make it through the winter in that condition. If the thieves had taken up pillaging in order to survive, that would be deplorable, but understandable. But this is something else entirely. It looks as though they destroyed those villages purely for pleasure. No matter what their reasons may be, that sort of behavior cannot be allowed. Ever.
Don't bother losing your head over those lowlifes, Your Highness. It's wasted effort.
Sylvain, the thieves' leader, the one who stole the relic, word has it he's your older brother. I know he's been disowned, but...
He is no longer a member of House Gautier, or my brother. He's nothing more than a common thief.
Are you sure about that? It would be understandable to find the situation, well, regrettable, to say the least.
Regrets? You must be joking. You know we're far past the point of regret. And it always falls on the younger brother to clean up the mistakes of their elders, doesn't it?
This rain threatens a coming storm. We must hurry and begin our war council before the heavens let loose.
The enemy is close by. We're almost to the top floor.
They are merely thieves, but they have a hero's relic. Do not drop your guard.
Don't hold back for my sake. My brother is going to pay for everything he's done.
The captain's in trouble. Hurry up, you fools!
Enemies approach from the lower floors. Watch the rear flank.
Here we go! Attack them from both sides!
It's an ambush!
I'll give it my all.
So, you think you can take the lance from me, huh? I'll kill you. I'll kill every last one of you!
Why have you come, you crest-bearing fool?
I'm here for the Lance of Ruin, Miklan. Hand it over.
I don't want to humiliate you, but I will.
Hurry up and die already. If not for you, if it hadn't been for you.
Shut up! I'm so tired of hearing that. You've always blamed me for something that isn't my fault.
Not bad for your kind. A bunch of spoiled, rotten children. What the hell? Damn, look at that! I'm out of here!
Hold on! No! Ah! What the? Miklan! Is that you?
That form. Oh my. Is this your first time fighting such a thing? Then listen well to what I say. An evil power has caused them to grow quite large. Their life force is beyond a mortal like yourself. You cannot win unless you fell them twice, or even thrice. Even if you've cornered one, you cannot let your guard down. Those things are even worse when threatened. Can you see that barrier? It is surrounded by great power. You must break through to fight that thing. A strong attack or gambit might help to break through more quickly. If you can break the barrier, that power will have nowhere else to go, and that will likely cause confusion for that thing. It cannot counter while confused, which means that is the best time to attack. If you break down all of their barriers, not only will they be confused, they will not be able to move for a short while. Without the power flowing around them, they will not be able to restore their barriers. You might even be able to get something from them. They have such might that they will not fear you alone. But a battalion could prove useful on that front. Attack them with a gambit to draw their attention and force them to target you. Be on your guard when they have realized their full power. The damage caused at times like that is not contained to just one spot. Once they have charged some power up, their barriers will be restored. You really must pay close attention to those things. Distract them with a gambit, or just take them down before they can attack. In any case, think carefully before you act. But you should be conquering that thing instead of talking to me. If you're out of questions, get over there and fight!
So, this is the power of a hero's relic. To create such a sinister beast. It has gone too far. I fear all we can do now is put an end to it.
What is that?
It's like watching a bad dream come to life.
I'm with you. It's time.
Goddess, the beast is gone, yet Miklan and the lance remain.
It's over. Let's retrieve the lance and leave this place.
Miklan, my brother.
That man, his form was changed. It was as though that lance was swallowing him whole. Upon that sight, it makes sense that your students were upset. I wonder if those relics truly hide such power. Yet even still, that power seems familiar. That form as well. As one who wields the sword of the Creator, does that mean you possess that power too?
Professor, you have returned. The goddess is indeed generous with her divine protection. I have already heard Gilbert's report about what happened. See to it that you keep what transpired at the tower to yourself. People would lose faith in the nobles should rumors spread of one using a relic and transforming into a monster. All regions of Fodland would fall into chaos. We must avoid that at all costs. Please ensure the students who accompanied you understand that as well. Have I made myself clear? His transformation into a black beast was nothing short of divine punishment from the goddess. Punishment for someone arrogant and foolish enough to use a hero's relic even though they were unworthy and unqualified. Of course, that is why we rushed to recover it. Sadly, we did not arrive in time. The church will formally return the lance to House Gautier, if you would. What is the meaning of this?
Ahem. Excuse me. Lady Rhea, I am overjoyed and beyond grateful to you for recovering the relic of my family, House Gautier. Now, may I please have that lance? I have received direct approval from my father to take possession of it.
As the next head of House Gautier, do you swear that you will never cause such a deplorable incident to transpire?
On my family's name, and on my brother's life, I swear it.
Very well. However, I have one condition. You must never allow another to wield this lance. Your brother clearly demonstrated what fate awaits those who break that restriction.
Yes. I will not soon forget.
Is your meeting over, Professor? I was just thinking about something. Professor, the possession of relics and crests has been highly valued in Faerghus since ancient times. It's far from uncommon for someone to lose their ability to lead their house because they don't bear a crest. Just like Miklan. It happened to my uncle as well. The eldest child of the king, and yet he never ascended to the throne. All families whose bloodlines carry the crests of the 10 elites are much the same. But House Gautier takes it a step further and absolutely requires an heir who possesses a crest. To that house, the power of crests is a necessity, not a luxury. House Gautier holds the most northern territory in the kingdom, and they have fought with the people to the north for many years. The head of that house is responsible for protecting that territory from fearsome invaders, whom they keep at bay with the power of crests and relics. In exchange for that responsibility, they are granted special privileges within the kingdom. I believe the same. Ability cannot be measured by the possession of a crest alone. I believe that Margrave Gautier was wrong to disinherit Miklan, simply because he did not bear a crest. Still, there is always a reason for why such customs stand the test of time. Imagine what this world would be like if no one placed any stock in crests. Bloodlines that carry crests would dwindle. The metaphorical blade used to oppose threats would eventually rust. This same argument has been made time and time again across the years. Both sides are at once right and wrong. I believe those with crests and those without should acknowledge the other's strengths and learn to respect each other based on personal merits. And that doesn't apply only to crests. The same holds true for lineage, race, faith, ideologies. If we could just accept each other and make mutual concessions one step at a time, perhaps... Who knows if that's even possible? Everyone has something that is unacceptable within them. I certainly do, and I'd wager you do as well. I wonder which is best, Professor. To cut away that which is unacceptable, or to find a way to accept it anyway?
Professor, you have done well to complete such a difficult task. You have shown exceptional skill in leading your students. I am forever grateful for the safe return of the hero's relic. Just as I expected, you have mastered the sword of the Creator. Now then, I shall tell you about your mission for the coming month.
Rhea, Archbishop!
Seteth, what troubles you?
Flayn is missing. I cannot find her anywhere. Professor, have you seen Flayn recently? I have searched everywhere. Where could she be? She may be in danger. Oh no, 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 what am I to do?
Calm yourself, Seteth. Professor, we shall continue our discussion another time. Welcome, Professor. This is the first time I have welcomed you here, is it not? There is no need to be nervous. Please, come closer. When you speak with me here in this room, you are not speaking with the Archbishop, but with Rhea. It's just me. What a sweet child you are. My apologies. I should not be treating you like a child. As Gerald's kin, somehow you don't seem at all a stranger to me. Speaking of Gerald, may I ask if he ever spoke of me to you? My, but that does sound like something Gerald would say. However, one would be remiss to not take circumstance into consideration. In order to rise to the role of Archbishop, one must maintain an unbiased approach to judgment. It oft requires a certain sternness of words and actions. However, I believe that the person who stands before you now is no longer frightening. At least, that is my hope. Since you are here, shall I tell you about the Gerald that I knew? By the look of it, you haven't heard much about his time at the monastery, have you? When I first met Gerald, he was quite young. Why, he could not even grow a full beard at that point. On one fateful occasion, the band of mercenaries he belonged to fought alongside the Knights of Seiros. I was traveling with the Knights at the time, and Gerald jumped in front of an attack meant for me. He was gravely wounded, on the verge of death. I tended to his wounds in a desperate attempt to save his life. Thankfully, my efforts were not in vain. Gerald managed to escape a seemingly certain death. I made arrangements for him to receive further care at Garrick Mach. The moment he was deemed fully recovered, I invited him to join the Knights. Well, it is not a story I have often repeated. Even at the monastery, there are not many who know that. I tell you this because, to me, you are the child of the one who saved my life all those years ago. And also... Never mind. It is nothing. I simply wanted to say that I trust you. By coming to visit with me today, you have... Well, suffice it to say that my day is brighter than it otherwise would have been. I thank you for that.
Hello, Felix. I see you're here to train as well.
Go away. Just looking at your face makes me want to retch.
With that mouth of yours, you grow more like your brother every day.
Shut up. And stop walking around on your hind legs. You're not fooling me.
I cannot fathom why you seem to hate me so.
Because I know what you really are. A beast craving blood.
A beast craving blood, am I? I assume you're speaking of the events 2 years ago. Last time we met outside the academy?
I am. The way you suppressed that rebellion, it was ruthless slaughter, and you loved every second. I remember the way you killed your victims, how you watched them suffer. And your face, that expression, all the world's evil packed into it. That was our first battle. I remember it vividly. Oh, something wrong? Go ahead and deny it, you wild boar.
I deny nothing, Felix.
Well then. I suppose the Dimitri I once knew died during that slaughter in Dusker, along with my brother.
Perhaps you're right.
Hurry up and get out of my sight. I don't make a habit of talking to beasts.
My goodness! Sword training again today? Don't overdo it, all right?
I certainly won't, but thanks for your concern, Mercedes. It's more of a hobby than anything, so don't worry too much.
A hobby? How wonderful! I would probably get tired of it, but that's just me.
Didn't you say you hope to take the sword test soon?
You're right. I completely forgot that's coming up. What should I do?
To be honest, I've been a bit worried as I haven't seen you at the training ground much.
Why didn't you say something sooner if you were so worried about me?
It didn't occur to me that you could have forgotten. But you're right. I should have mentioned it. As an apology, why don't you let me help you with your swordsmanship?
You would do that for me? I'd really appreciate your help.
Okay, but keep in mind that since we're short on time, we may have to overdo it a little.
I don't like to overdo it, but if we must, I'll try my best.
It's settled. Let's begin. Don't tell me you've forgotten how to hold a sword. We have our work cut out for us.
I usually just hold the sword without thinking about my grip, you know? Let's see what happens now that you've shown me the proper way to handle it. I was nervous at first, but just look at me now. Yeah!
Well, I didn't realize offering to help you would mean risking my life.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I just meant to swing the sword. I didn't think it would go flying like that. I'm impressed with how quickly you can dodge.
Yes, I know you didn't intend to murder me, though that scare likely took years off my life.
Maybe I'm not cut out for this whole sword fighting thing.
Nonsense. It's far too early to give up. The first time I picked up a sword, I was much like you. It's true that different people are better suited to different things. But if you keep at it and refuse to give up, you're certain to improve.
Do you really think so? Thank you, Dimitri. It's very kind of you to... Oh, there's a rip in your cuff, Dimitri. How do you think...
It seems I didn't dodge your sword fast enough. Don't worry, I can easily repair it.
I'm the one who tore it, so I'll be the one who mends it. How does that sound?
No, please, don't worry yourself over it. Just focus on your exam.
Hey Felix, you free? You don't look very busy. Let's go find some girls to chat with.
Chat with them by yourself. You're interrupting my training.
Hey, come on. Don't talk like that. How long have we known each other?
Long enough, if you ask me. We only know each other because of our parents' friendship. I didn't have a say in it.
Is that how it went? Huh. I remember it more like you always following me around. Whenever there was something wrong, like you lost to your brother or you fought with Dimitri, you'd come crying to me. You were so meek and pure back then. Cute even. Like a baby brother.
That's enough.
What?
I said that's enough!
Hey, sorry. I just came to see if you wanted to pick up some girls. I didn't mean to get on your nerves.
Look, you've been getting on my nerves for years. I've tried to be patient with you, but I'm tired of holding my tongue. You're reckless in your personal affairs and in battle, and you're always prattling on about women.
Well, if a man sees a pretty girl, he can't just let her pass by without commenting. That's just rude.
You're insatiable. Do you ever stop? Certainly not to practice your sword technique. You always skip training. And you never consider how your actions hurt others, or how you hold them back.
That's never my intention. Come on, you know me better than that. I'm not really... Look, if that's the impression I've given you, then I'm sorry.
Felix, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. Time for our tactics lecture. You'll be there, won't you?
Those things are such a waste of time.
Nonsense. You're going to be there.
Must I?
Why is this such a chore? You went last time. Though you did all you could to disrupt things, as I recall. Brazenly rambling on about clear-cutting a nearby forest to secure a marching route. And attacking an enemy base, stealing their horses. You were incredibly disruptive, and even rude.
I was offering my honest opinion.
Then, you left before we were finished. What do you suppose happened after that?
I have no idea.
Well, the conversation got quite lively. We all began breaking down the viability of your somewhat maniacal plan. And apparently, similar tactics have been used to turn the tides of historic battles.
That may be an exaggeration. Successful armies must be able to handle unexpected situations. That starts with weapon mastery and creative tactics.
If you didn't have so much battlefield experience, you wouldn't be capable of such unique strategies. Which is why we need people like you. People who think creatively to lead the army.
Now you're just massaging my ego.
When have you ever minded? We need you there. Just come on.
Hello, Felix. So, it was your turn to clean out the greenhouse, right?
Yes.
Well, I went ahead and took care of it. I also cleaned up the warehouse.
Why?
I just wanted to help you out. So that... Okay, fine. I'm bribing you. So you'll forget.
Forget what?
Are you really gonna make me say it? Before, in the greenhouse, I want you to forget what you saw and heard. If you agree to forget about it, I'll take your shift in the stables. Do we have a deal?
No thanks.
No? But that's not okay! You have to forget about it, right this moment!
I can't. It's permanently etched in my memory. A mountain of sweets. as well as steaks and cakes. Stacks of them, apparently. I'm also intrigued by those bear and swamp beastie songs you mentioned. Ah, and I've been meaning to ask about the move that went along with crumbs and yums. Was that fencing footwork?
Oh, stop it, Felix! You're a villain! You think you're so funny? Keeping a straight face while mocking my singing and dancing? Well, you have to forget about it! Please! What if I make you a nice steak dinner? You like steak, don't you, Felix? It'll be yummy!
This isn't about steak. I just...
Fine! Be stubborn! Tell the whole world for all I care! I'll just learn to live with the funny looks I'll get from everyone. They'll all say, "There goes that Annette, the girl with the funny ideas about food." You're just the evilest of villains, Felix! I'll hate you forever and ever!
I was just trying to be nice. Funny ideas about food? Even the bullies in her head are ridiculous. I really don't understand that girl.
Ah, Dorothea! The dining hall seems so much brighter with you here.
Ferdy, I must say you are quite adept with flattery. Please, give me some more.
Flattery? No, I was not... There you go with that attitude again. Why do you reserve such cold treatment for me and me alone? Do you hate me, Dorothea? Or have you some other reason to avoid my company?
I underestimated you. I assumed your noble upbringing had dulled your perception. But you got it right on your first try. I hate you.
Huh, I was right. Might I ask why you find me so despicable? I can scarcely guess.
Don't waste another minute thinking about it.
That will not do. I do not think you would hate a person for no reason.
Perhaps. How's this? If you can guess why, I'll let you know if you're right. The brains of us common folk are so simple, it should be pretty easy for a big-shot noble to sort out.
Very well. I cannot walk away from a challenge. I have no choice but to chance a guess. You are always making fun, calling me a big shot and so forth. Perhaps you think all nobles are... No, it cannot be that simple.
Oh? What can't be that simple?
Please, will you not give me a clue?
Well, let me see. A good clue? I know. It's because you're like a bee. That ought to be enough of a clue. So long, Ferdy.
A bee? I haven't the slightest. Perhaps because I am such a diligent worker?
At this time of year, the fish are fat. Simply grilling them will bring out their best flavor. Steaming them with herbs is delicious too.
Wow, you know a lot about this. I'm learning so much from you to do. Were you a cook at the castle in Ferdiad?
No.
Did your family own an eatery of some kind?
No. My sister and I helped with cooking at home.
Wow, that's all? I thought I was confident about my skills, but next to you, I feel like an amateur. Hey, could you give me some advice about other kinds of meat besides fish?
Ash.
Yes to do?
Why do you spend time with me?
We're friends, right? I just want to get to know you better. Is that so odd?
I am from Dusker.
So, look at me. I came from a life of poverty. I was lucky to even be let in here to study with all these high-class people. I think we have a lot in common.
Being poor and being from Dusker are two different things.
Oh, I know. But we can still be friends, can't we?
You are a peculiar person.
So I'm told.
Oh no, this isn't right. Now what am I supposed to do?
What's the matter, Mercedes?
I accidentally made this food much sweeter than I wanted.
Let me taste it. Yeah, a little sweet. What if we try adding a few spices?
This is delicious! You're an amazing cook, Ash!
My dad used to own a restaurant. I helped out a lot around the kitchen, even as a little kid.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility to take on at an early age. No wonder you always work so hard. I might learn something if I watch you cook.
Well, no promises. I just have a little bit of experience, that's all. But look at you, you're great at baking cakes.
It's true that I'm quite good at baking, but I'm not the best when it comes to seasoning. Maybe it's because I don't like spicy food? It's tough to make food taste good when you don't enjoy it. I just had an idea. If the reason I can't cook spicy food is because I don't like it, then all I have to do is eat some spicy food. If I learn to like it, then I'll be better at making it, right?
I don't know, maybe. What makes you say that?
No. None of that matters. Once I've made a decision, I have to go with it. I'll make something spicy right away.
Oh, this won't end well. If I leave her to it, she'll make an even bigger mess.
Hey, Ash, which seasonings should I use? These ones?
Hold on, Mercedes. Let me show you. That one goes best with meat, but for stir-fry, what you really want is this.
That shopping trip took longer than expected, didn't it, Mercy?
It truly did. You bought just about everything in the place.
You're so good at deciding the best thing to buy. I sort of wanted it all. I mean, not that I was excessive. I think you bought just about as much as I did.
Oh, really? The number of bags you're carrying says otherwise.
What? That's... Oh, fine. You got me. I was just having too much fun. I love shopping with you, Mercy.
It was fun. It's nice going into town without having to run errands for once.
Isn't it? And I'm pretty confident the professor will forgive our little detour. This actually reminds me of going to school in Ferdiad.
Me too. It almost feels like that time in our lives was a story from long ago.
So much has changed since then. Oh, but there's at least one thing that hasn't changed.
Me and you, right? We're the same old friends we always were.
That's just what I was about to say.
I've known you so long I can always guess.
Mercy, we'll stay friends like this forever, won't we?
Is something wrong? You sound worried.
Since our time in the capital, so much has happened. We've had to make new lives for ourselves, and we've seen at least as many hard times as good. If things keep changing like this, I wonder if we'll be able to stay the same people we are now.
I wonder that too. I don't think everything in the future will be perfect, but it's us. So I'm sure
we'll figure it out together, right?
How did you know what I was going to say?
Oh, Mercy, I can always guess what you're gonna say.
Oh, it's getting late. We better hurry back before the professor gets angry.
You're right. Run, Mercy!
What? Wait for me, Annie! You know I'm not as fast as you!